What does it really mean to have an extraordinary career? Is it working with legends like Denzel Washington and Frank Sinatra? Or is it having the courage to risk it all for a new life? Today, you're going to hear an incredible story from someone who has done both. World-class filmmaker and producer Jason. In this full, in-depth interview, our founding attorney, Chris M. Ingram, sits down with Jason to trace his entire 36-year journey. And this story is one you won't want to miss. In it, we'll cover his remarkable rise to the top of the film industry, but we'll also get to the real crisis. What happens when your successful career hits a dead-end visa that puts your family's future at risk? You'll hear, in his own words, what he did when other lawyers told him his goal was impossible, and how one single decision led to an astonishing new future he never could have imagined.
I got in the film business 36 years ago. This August, 36 years ago. Was doing A-levels at school. My passion was making movies, and I gave up my A-levels halfway through as I got a job as a running Mouse over Kansas film. Just left school and started that 36 years ago. So that's all I've ever done. If someone offered me another job, I couldn't do it because all I've ever done is making movies somewhere or another. So, I did a couple of big movies like Cry of Freedom with Denzel Washington and Gorillas and Mist with Sigourney Weaver. And then with Sigourney, on that film, I got my break as director of photography. I was camera assistant. And I was still young then, so I was quite young actually to start doing bigger films. So I did a big Robin Hood film as a director of photography with Uma Thurman. I was only 28. So in those days, there's a lot more 28-year-olds doing it now, but I was still young, so they loved me doing music videos. So I ended up doing all of U2's music videos. Frank Sinatra, before he died, I worked with Frank. I worked with, Guns N' Roses. I worked with a lot of the big bands doing a lot of their stuff. I just got to the stage of my life where I worked a lot in the UK and just fancied a change, really. That was one. Literally, I went to the gym one day and I thought, if I didn't have a family, where would I be right now? I thought, well, I'd be in LA because this is the center of the entertainment business. And so I came home and discussed it. Our wife, we all felt it was, we were game for the change and the kids were the right age. So then I worked with Tom, who's another producer, he said, well, why don't you go for a green card at EB-1? And I said, well, I don't think I can get one. I spoke to my lawyer. He said, yeah, there's no way you can get one of those. I spoke to a couple of people who just seemed to have quite a negative perspective and not look at the picture more broadly. And he said, well, I know someone, and he mentioned you, Chris Ingram. So I phoned you up, and that's actually your attitude was so positive. It was a no-brainer for me to go with you, rather than going for the 01, just go straight to the EB-1, which was a huge thing for us as a family because my wife couldn't work here under the 01. My boys were going to graduate in a couple of years at school. And if I stayed on an 01, it would have put them in a very restricted position because they couldn't have done any work, So it was a huge thing for us to get the possibility of having an EB-1. And well, to begin with, it's quite daunting because you have to do a lot of research into yourself and gather as much material as you can. So it's like, oh my God, where am I going to get that from? And actually, after a while, it was quite fun to suddenly look back at my career and see what I have done and to contact people that I haven't worked for a long time who were really supportive, really supportive and sending letters or sending newspaper tips that they had and what have you. But originally, to look at it on the surface, it was quite a lot. And people who I now recommend to go and see you or whatever, I always say, just start now. If you want to get an 01 or you want to get EB-1, just start your process now because you're going to have to do that legwork no matter what happens, which is just gathering as much material about yourself, press clippings and what have you. Like I said, once we started doing it, it was quite fun and we all enjoy it. In fact, every now and again, I'll look back and see, look back at the file, because you've got a nice big file. I mean, yeah, well, it was really swift. I mean, I think from talking to you to get in the EB-1, I think was less than 3 months. I think it was like 2 months. I mean, it was really ridiculous. And we paid for it to be expedited, and it was, I mean, I think from the minute you submitted it, it was only literally 3 weeks or something. It was insane. But I got photographs somewhere of me holding the cards up. You know, it was a great moment, fantastic moment. But I've got to be honest, it actually went so smoothly with you, and I'm not just, and this isn't, I'm not selling it. It actually went so smoothly, so it felt very natural, and it was great. For me, it was after the fact, then for my wife, you know, that she could go and work. That was a huge thing, and the kids now are all working here, and you know, 2 of them are working, and one's graduating this year. My oldest son now is a helicopter pilot instructor. Yeah, he's teaching even the LAPD how to fly, you know, and he's 21. So he left school and he's doing that. And the other boy's learning to become a stuntman, and he's got certificates at all levels. And we skydive together, me and, you know, we skydive together. So, and the other one's graduating this week. So, and their life has completely transformed. I mean, there's no way that my eldest would have been a helicopter pilot if it had been left in England. No way. Yeah. So, you know, when we first moved here, they were very angry for a year, and angry at Dad for tearing it away from their kids. And I had a bet with them. I said that in a couple of years' time, you'll be more sad if you had to leave America to go back to England than the other way around. And they said, no, I won't. And they admitted, you know, about 2 years afterwards, they said, I don't really go back. And if we did, I'd be very upset. They're completely Californian boys now. Surfing, you know, we live here on Venice Beach. After moving here originally, and so often is the case, so many people I know, there's something about California which rocks people's foundations, and we lost all of our original contracts for work and everything. And we got to the stage where we had 1 month's worth of funds in the bank. And after being here only for 3 or 4 months, we had that horrible decision: or do we go back home, or do we stay here, knowing we've only got one? And I didn't know anybody here, knew nobody at all. And we decided we'd stay and make a go of it. And, you know, when you have to make something happen, you do. Somehow we all do. You know, if you have to survive, if you can get out tours, and you do. But if you have to make it work, we made a decision we had to make it work. And so from having nothing, I've now built a successful production company where we produce commercials. So it really has developed, and it's developed in ways that I would never have thought it would. I would never have put this down as the plan that I thought it would become. I wasn't that interested in producing really when I left England. In fact, I'd never done any producing. I'd always done directing and director of photography work. So now to be a producer and be producing, you know, I produced a film with Sharon Stone in Vegas last year. It's it's the biggest grossing film in Russia of all time. So I've been doing films like that and lots of very successful commercials, lots of awards for films that we've been making. I would never have painted that picture. So stepping into the unknown and seeing what blossomed has really been a wonderful journey. You just got to go for it, follow your gut, because that's what many friends and I said, just do it. Just go for it, because you can always go back if you really wanted to. You could come to the States and go back, and never assume that it's as hard as advice that people may give you. Makeup was really hard. That's what life's about. It's the adventures of life. It's about having challenges and overcoming the challenges. That's why we're here alive. We like challenges. We all know that that's what drives human spirits to go beyond, is to have a challenge. So for me, more than worth it anyway. The lifestyle and everything that has had it. But apart from that, it's just the adventure. And from a legal perspective, you know, I think that I recommend everybody to you because I really trust you, and everything that you did for me and everybody I've recommended is proved to work out extremely well. And sometimes there's an adventure on that journey as well. But it's an adventure, and it's all worked out in the end.
What an incredible story. Jason's journey is a powerful reminder that a no is often just an opinion, not a fact. But most of all, his story shows that a visa is never just a document. It's the key that unlocks an impossible career for a 21-year-old son, and the freedom to pursue the adventures that, as Jason says, drive the human spirit. What part of his story inspired you the most? Let us know in the comments and follow our channel for more stories just like this.